Well, hello, all of my crafty friends here today with the What Inspires You Hop. So make sure you guys check my description box for all the information for our hop details. And I decided that since we were doing inspiration, I had to bring in butterflies because butterflies to me are so inspiring. They just to me scream the word transformation, and I've been loving this Neat and Tangled set. So I decided, why not bring this in as a part of how I'm inspired. I'm also going to be bringing in some of the Simon Says stamp masking paper, and I stamped those out 3 times. I stamped one of the butterflies twice and the other butterfly once, and I have fussy cut those with my Tim Holtz snipper shears. Now, the reason that I did some fussy cutting and some masking is because I am going to have my butterflies overlapping each other in my scene, I guess you can call it. Now, I decided to do a shape card and to have this card fold a little bit differently. It's going to fold like a diamond. So it's going to fold at the top. And I decided to do that because one of the things that inspires me in card making is having the ability to do things that are different from any other thing that I see when I walk into the store, when I go down the Hallmark channel. I want to do things that you're going to know that this was handmade and you're proud of it. So I've stamped that initial butterfly in the center, and now I am masking that off because both of my other butterflies will in some way touch the other, or touch the center butterfly. They won't touch each other. So I am going to stamp out my butterfly to the right, and I'm going to mask that one out. And then I am going to stamp out my butterfly that is on the left, and I'm going to mask that one out. Now, if you weren't doing my next step, you wouldn't necessarily need to mask all 3 of your butterflies. I am masking all 3 of my butterflies because I am also doing some ink blending. I decided to bring in a stencil that I've been eyeballing for quite some time and to use that in this as my background of this butterfly collage. So I have everything masked out here, and the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this circled illusion stencil from the Rabbit Hole Designs. I really love this stencil, and I have some of my pixie spray. I'm going to spray that down so that all of the little intricate pieces stay placed down and I can get a crisp ink blending. I'm going to bring in Wilted Violet, Picked Raspberry, Chipped Sapphire, and Lucky Clover as my distress inks, and I have the mini ink cubes, and so I'm going to be ink blending those 4 colors together because another thing that inspires me is bold, vibrant colors, and these are some of the colors that I gravitate toward the most. Everyone who knows me knows that purple is my absolute favorite, and a close second behind that is anything that is mixing like a blue and a green together, teals and aquas and turquoise and those type of things. So I brought in my blues and my greens, my purples and my pinks, because I feel like the elements that I put together on this card really shows the things that give me inspiration to continue card making and have actually given me the inspiration to begin card making. And as we get to coloring, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey into card making and crafting in general. So here's what we have when we get done with that optical illusions, and then I'm going to start peeling up my mask and revealing the magic. Now, I did not let this dry too much, so I had to be very careful when peeling those up because I did not want to tear my paper, so I end up getting my snips and using those to kind of help peel up the pieces that were still kind of sticky. But this is what we get before we start our coloring, and I really think this would have been beautiful by itself. But I'm also a Jelly Roll pen girl. I love the colors of the Jelly Roll set. I have the full set, and they are amazing. And so I brought out some of my favorite colors again, and I am going to use those to do my butterflies. Now I'm going to show you this butterfly in total. I will not show you the coloring of the other two because this did take quite a bit of time. So you guys sit back and relax and enjoy the coloring as I talk to you guys a little bit about my journey. So I started card making in 2017 around Mother's Day. I had lost my mother, and it was a very traumatic event for me. And being a licensed therapist, it was very difficult for me to pull on the coping skills that I know that I would teach other people to do in grief. It was just very hard for me to find anything that brought me any joy. And as I talked to my husband and we talked about the importance of me finding something that makes me happy, something that motivates me again, I just did not know what to do. One night as we were talking, I told him that maybe I would try crafting. And he thought that was a beautiful idea and he really encouraged me to do so. However, I had absolutely no idea what that meant. And now my husband was a huge YouTuber, but up until that point in life, I had not actually been on YouTube. So I did not really know the ins and outs of YouTube and all that YouTube had to offer. I did know that it was a plethora of information for him in the things that he desired to do. So I went on to YouTube one night and I literally typed in crafty. And this individual, her name is Melody Lane, popped up on my newsfeed, and I saw that she was doing paper crafting, and I thought that it was awesome. I loved it. And so she was using this thing called a Cricut, and I told my husband that I wanted one. And of course, him wanting me to be better, said, let's get you one. So at this point, I don't even know what a Cricut really is or what it really does, but I know that this person is using it and she's coming out with these beautiful things. So I ordered this Cricut, and for about 6 months, I literally purchase what she's purchasing and go step by step in every video that she's done. Now, when I first started crafting, I played with vinyl and iron-on, and I still play with it to some degree, but I have evolved into paper crafting, which came along as I learned more about YouTube and became introduced to people like Cards and Coffee Time, Tina and Cassie Trask and Courtney Kreeber. And there were a couple others who I would always watch them do card kit videos. And then I became interested in stamps and card kits. And I remember that in December of 2017 was when I first figured out how to order a card kit. And I began the Hero Arts monthly card kit. And I will tell you guys, from that point, it has been down the rabbit hole and I have never looked back. It has been such a therapeutic thing for me to have the ability to make cards. And I think that because it goes again with one of the primary ways that I show love, which is giving to other people. I love gifting people. You know, in my home, I buy things for people, I send things to people, we do random acts of kindness because those are the things that really make me happy. And so to have the ability to be creative, to have something that makes my mind work, to have my hands doing something that keeps me out of my head sometimes, and then to have the ability to then turn around and send this unexpectedly to another person has been such an amazing and inspiring thing for me. And it truly, truly was instrumental in my healing, during the grief of my mother. Now, I've always been very religious, very spiritual, but if you are and you've had a traumatic loss, you will know that there is a time in your life when it is really hard, as much as you try to hold on, depend, and lean on your faith, when that is the same thing that you're questioning. During the time with my mother, she was 53 when she passed away, 4 days prior to her birthday, and 2 weeks prior to me moving back home for the sole purpose of being where she was and purchasing a home that was fit for her to come live in. So it was a lot that was going into this. You know, I was in a home that I had to question why I was there every day, because the purpose of me purchasing the home, although I really loved the home, was the fact that I knew that in 2 years my mother was to come live with me and she needed her own space. And this particular home provided an in-law suite that had that. The decision or request to move back an hour away from home was to be closer to her, and so that joy was taken away. It just made a lot of things very difficult, and it caused a huge struggle for me, just for a bit of time, even pulling on my faith. Like I said, I am a licensed clinician, and a lot of times when you're going through something very difficult, you are no longer using the rational portion of your brain. You are finding yourself only responding using the emotional part of your brain, or your amygdala, and I could not get out of my amygdala for myself. Now, I could function for other people, but it was very difficult to function for myself and to remind myself of the coping skills. And so once I got into crafting and found how therapeutic it was, this year, the idea started last year. During the middle of the year, I decided that I wanted to also share what I was doing with the crafting community, and there was born Craft Therapy, because by that time I had begun to incorporate crafting into my therapy practices, and that is something that I would call a staple when I am working with individuals, because we figure out some form of crafting, and it doesn't have to be card making. It could be something else, but we find some form of crafting to utilize in their therapy to put into what I call their coping skills toolbox to help them through. And so I know that that is what has inspired me. That is what got me started on my journey. That is what caused the love for card making and for crafting in general. I know that in my home, although I craft a lot, my family is much more happier seeing me in a positive mood than in a negative mood. And I do know that although I probably would have healed in time, it definitely made a difference in the process and the journey that I went through in my healing. So that is my inspiration for crafting. Excuse my dog. He thinks he's Napoleon. I am now going to take my Spectrum Noir art liners. These are Copic Safe pens that I typically use to outline images if I need to when I am Copic coloring, but they also work very well over the top of your dried Jelly Roll pen. So I just use those to bring back the dark lines from after I used the Jelly Roll pens all over my butterflies, and I think this came out so bold and beautiful and vibrant. And it's just all the things. I love it. So now I brought out some paper. This is some glitter paper from Cricut, and also a Glitzy Stack pack that I got from Joann's that has some other glitter paper that is a little bit thinner. And I'm going to cut those down. My butterfly panel is 5 by 5, and then my black glitter panel is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and that pink color is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. The ending of my card will be a 6 by 6 card. And I will create a custom envelope for this. It is a little bit more to mail a square envelope, so I will probably make my envelope a rectangle. Why did I lose that word? Anyways, I'll probably make it a rectangle once I get completely done, and then send it out to someone special. So I typically try to send out 2 stamp books worth of cards each month. That's about 20 cards because my cards are a little bit heavier, and yeah, I try to send out about 20 cards a month to random people for random days. I'm going to bring out one of my May stamp sets because I need this word friend for the front of my card. And then I'm going to use 2 of the sentiments that say, look how much you've grown. Don't be afraid to spread your wings and fly for the inside of my card. Now this stamp set did not come with any big sentiments, so I had to pull from my stash. I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo black ink to ink up the words, and then I'm going to bring back in my distress ink to ink up the butterfly in my favorite color. You guessed it, purple, because that represents royalty if you are a religious person, and I truly do believe in that. And I love the royalty and richness of the color purple, especially a nice deep purple. I'm not really a lavender person, but I don't discriminate on purple. If it's purple, I will take it. So this is what that panel looks like. And now we're going to work on putting the front sentiment. I'm going to take my anti-static powder tool and I'm going to powder this up really good because we've used distress inks, we've used those jelly roll pens, and I don't want anything sticking where it is not supposed to be sticking. I'm going to bring out that Friends stamp from the May Made It set, and I don't remember the name of that set actually. Let me see. And I'm going to bring in some Stampendous embossing powders. Some Stampendous embossing powders. These are so old. These are from when I first started stamping. I thought that was cool and could build up my stash. And I'm going to bring out my VersaFine Onyx black ink to ink that up. This is called the Ministry Appreciation stamp set from May Made It, and that is where the Friend stamp came from. I'm going to take my coffee filter and I'm going to pour my embossing powder all over the top of that, and I have my Wagner heat tool heating off to the side to try to ensure that I don't get too much warping. And this is a fine detail embossing powder, and it did a really good job. Nowadays, I typically use my Brutus Monroe Gilded. Now, I did have my handy dandy Cricut cut me out a double diamond that is welded in the middle and has a score line for my card base. Now, this is just some white cardstock from Cricut. I did double it up because Cricut's cardstock is usually about an 80-pound cardstock, and I like for it to be a little thicker. So I did cut that out twice, and I adhered those together. Now, I am going to go ahead and start gluing together the inside of my card. I'm going to glue that white panel onto the black glitter. I feel like that kind of gives it a little pop and brings your eyes in toward that inside sentiment. And then I'm going to glue that onto that pink kind of shimmery glitter cardstock. That Glitzy Stack from Joann's is pretty smooth. It's not as textured as the Cricut glitter cardstock. It's more like the sparkle cardstock from from Cricut, not from glitter. The sparkle cardstock from Cricut, or the shimmer paper, which is very smooth. None of it sheds, which is a great thing for me. I don't really like the glitter cardstock that sheds on you. And I'm going to glue all of that down, and then I'm going to fold it. And then we're going to work on our front panel. And I am going to be doing that front panel the exact same way. The pink will be closest to the card base, and then my front panel will be layered onto the black cardstock. And this will create a diamond card. Now, it will not stand up on that little point, but I'm pretty sure you knew that. But I love the way it looks, and you guys know that I like a kind of fun fold when I'm making my cards. So I just always try to do something just a tad bit different when I am creating my cards to send out to people, because like I said, I want them to know that they got something that was in no way store-bought. You're not going to find this at the store. And that is pretty much the card, except for we have to add a little bit of bling. You guys know me, I love my shimmer and I love my bling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out some bling, and for the first time in forever, you guys will notice I actually have a label on this. This is Studio Katia Gold Foil Pearls. Aren't you proud of me? This shows you when I started actually labeling things, because I'm now making YouTube videos, which by the way really started in January of this year. I actually created the channel last year during the summer, and then there were a lot of things that happened and I was not able to really get started with the channel. So this year in January, I gave it a valiant effort, and I have been doing this for a little over 6 months now, which is pretty awesome. And that brings us to the end of our card. I hope you guys loved it. I hope you guys are inspired, and please make sure you check out the description box so that you can hop along with us on this inspiring hop. I know you will find a lot of valuable information from our creators. Have an absolutely wonderful day, friends. I hope that you guys are being super crafty, and I hope everyone is safe and in really good health. Bye-bye.